Hello, I am Jibrael Jos and I am taking a series of videos to teach students programming. It's called the Think First Programming series. It will be on YouTube, it will be available to you. The idea is many times my students, after they study the programming language like C, when they take it to the lab, they end up taking the code from the internet or from a book directly. They don't learn how to code from scratch. And if you look at any programming language, whether it's Python or whether it's Java, end of the day, you need to understand the conditional statements like if, you need to understand loops like for and while, and you need to understand how to use variables and data structures. And that's all it is. If you understand it in one language, you can implement it in any language. When you learn to solve small problems, later you can combine different solutions to solve bigger problems. So it's very important to learn programming, to understand how does the program walk through different lines of code, how does recursions happen, how does looping happen, how are variables changing as the program proceeds, what is the advantage of using functions. So we will be covering the basics of C programming, but end of the day you will need to read some textbook or some tutorial online about the theory behind C programming. My aim is not to teach you every construct which is there in C programming language. My idea is that you step by step I teach you how to code, and hence the name of the series is Think First Programming. I used to do these workshops while back in college where I used to teach, and this is a follow-up of the same thing in the online format. I hope it reaches a wider audience. Thank you. In this programming series, I'll be using a software called Dev C++, and it's freely available. I request you to download it, install it on your system, and then you should be able to open file C programs in it, and you should learn how to compile in it. The second is, in case you are not able to access Dev C++ and you have got some other C compiler, it will work equally well in your tool also. So don't limit yourself to thinking, oh, I need to have Dev C++, then only I can implement it. It is not true. You should learn how to write a C program and how to compile it with your tool. And if you're able to do that, you can do C programming anywhere. And that's the beauty and flexibility of the C programming language. Once you understand the basic constructs, you can build the tool from there. So do follow the videos in order. Even if you are well aware of for loop and if, it will hardly take 5 to 10 minutes per video. It's a journey. So I have planned it in such a way that each video leads to the next video to the next video. Ideally, you are expected to code whatever I code and finish all the exercises at the end of each video, because then only you will truly learn how to code. I have some students who have done, like in a semester they do 1,500 lines of code on the average. But in the same class, there are students who do 3,000 lines of code, 4,000 lines of code, and there are toppers of the class who end up doing 7,000 lines of code in one semester. That's within 3 months to 4 months. So instead of giving 20 questions in the syllabus, I normally give a list of 120 questions. And believe me, there are students who finish 120 questions in 2 months and they ask me, sir, can we have more questions? So it's not a question of whether you have done, you know the programming language. The question is, how many lines of code have you written? So I request you to keep track of the code you wrote from looking at some other sources, and you keep track of the lines of code you wrote on your own. So suppose I ask you to code binary search and you have to code it from scratch. It's not going to be that easy. You will need to put the if conditions very accurately. You need to test it thoroughly for different case scenarios. So when you go through a process of writing the code from scratch, your programming skill gets better. End of the day, at your workplace, you will never need to code selection sort, bubble sort or binary search. The whole idea of learning this programming is that your programming logic gets better. We understand the conditions and criteria we are putting there. We learn how to debug code. We learn how to estimate the efficiency of our programs, whether it is quadratic in nature, whether it's a linear program, whether it's a recursive program. We understand those concepts a bit more better. So the idea of this initial series is that you get better and confident at your coding skills, and on the same hand you understand some concepts which are there in data structures and in the C programming language. So thank you. Looking forward for you to complete this whole series of 21 videos. Thank you.